Hello and welcome to another video. Something slightly different again this time. Yes, so I have a small problem. Okay, my problem is I have a Plex server set up on my Windows machine. Well, yeah, Plex server on my Windows gaming machine. But I have an issue. I've dual booted my machine. Because apart from recording these videos and gaming, everything else I do on my machine, my music, my software development, is all done on Mac OS, which I've dual booted on the system. And Plex is not installed on Mac OS because all the video files are on an NTFS partition, which is a 6 terabyte disk, which I use for a lot of non-fast storage, so to speak. So I need to move my Plex server. So the options are really is to use a VM or instance inside my AWS cloud account, which would be great because I can use it from anywhere and it will be always on, and I can even turn my main PC off and I can still use it remotely. My friends and family, they use my Plex as well. So that's one option. The issue is it's pay as you go. So I'd have to pay for the storage and the every hour of use for the instance, which could rack up some costs. The other option is buy some software, third-party software, so that my Mac can read the NTFS partition. The only thing is it will become an additional Plex server, so you'd have to map the folders on your Plex when watching it. So you'd have a Windows movies server folder, and you'd have to have a Mac movies folder server, even though they've got the same thing. That's a little bit rubbish. And then I had a thought. I found this not so long ago. This is a Raspberry Pi 2B, so it's old, probably very slow. I've got a Wi-Fi adapter on it, and I've also got this, which is a 1 terabyte mechanical drive. Okay, I mean, the IOPS between the two aren't going to be great, but it's yeah, it's just doing the streaming and maybe a bit of transcoding, not a huge amount. So this could potentially be the solution, but we won't know until we give it a go. So this is the hardware. I've got the 32 gig card here. And it's a micro SD and a converter, because this is my card reader. So we're going to set the Pi up with Debian or Raspbian, which is a Raspberry Pi default OS. That should be fine. It uses the same Debian repos that the normal Debian Linux does, except it's the ARM64 version rather than the x64 version because of different CPU type. Okay. Right, so let's get Plex downloaded, put on this card. Plex, Raspbian, downloaded, put on this card, and set up on the Raspberry Pi. But before we do anything, because this is quite an early video for me, I need this. Oh, not bad. Not bad. And cheaper than Starbucks. Right, let's get this thing started. Okay, right. Our card reader is plugged in now, and we're going to use the Raspberry Pi imager, which you can get from the Raspberry Pi website. So let's choose the device. It's a 2B. Choose OS. We want the latest one. Okay. It's 32-bit. So let's just have a look in the other. What we've got. OS Lite, ported Debian with no desktop environment. Well, I think we'll use the desktop environment for the initial setup, and then we'll change the run mode so it doesn't use it. So it runs headless. Raspberry Pi OS, full, legacy. That's the no desktop. Right, okay, well, we've got some options here. I'm just going to go and choose the, don't want Ubuntu. Embedded systems. No, let's go for the new one. Okay. And we'll choose the storage. Okay, here's our card. Let's click next. Yep. We can do our customizations. Okay, so set hostname Raspberry Pi. There's my username, my password. There's my Wi-Fi. I won't show the password. There's our localization. Services, we want SSH because when this runs, this is the only way we're going to be able to access it. Is by using SSH. Let's play a sound when finished. I'll reject it. Yeah. Okay, right, let's save that. Okay. Yes. The card will be erased. Do I want to continue? Yes, I do. Right, as you can see through the magic of editing, this is now imaged. So I can remove the SD card from the reader. Okay, and we can close that. Right, okay, let's plug the Raspberry Pi in and I'll set it so that we're capturing the display, and I'll plug a keyboard into it as well. Right, okay, we've now got the capture device here. So let's plug the power into the Pi and see if anything happens. Oh, we got something. Ooh, that looks good. Right, yeah, the Raspberry Pi desktop. So we're just going to make sure it's on the Wi-Fi, and then we can SSH into it, and then we don't really need to use it via the capture device. We can do everything we need via our remote terminal. Something's happening. Okay, right, what I haven't done yet is pop my keyboard in and mouse. So let's just unplug them from the PC for a sec. Right, keyboard's in. Let's do the mouse. Right, that's that. So we should be able to move the mouse inside the Pi. Excellent. Oh, that's a bit small, isn't it? Don't know if we can all see that. I want to zoom in, zoom out. Well, I don't know. I set the preferences. We're not going to use it in Windows. Zoom in, Control Shift Plus. That doesn't work. Is the keyboard working? Yeah, it is working. Let's do it this way. Zoom in. Zoom in. Zoom in. Right, that's about that do. So I have config. Let's just get the IP address. Okay, so it should be 192.168.0.37. So that is the IP address there. Then that is how we're going to connect to it. Okay, so now we've got an OS on there. Okay, let us let's have a look on the settings so we can set it so it doesn't run in Windows mode anymore. Preferences, Raspberry Pi configuration. Not the fastest thing in the world, is it? Okay, display. SSH we've got on. Okay, that's what we want. Performance. Overclocking. Maybe we'll do that. Boot to CLI, that's what we want. Auto login, we don't want. Okay, so let's okay that. So because we want everything to run what we call headless. Okay, so it just runs as a service, as a daemon inside the system. So we turn it on, it runs in the background. And then if we want to do anything on there, we can log in with a remote console. Okay, so right, let's reboot it, this command. Still says welcome to the Raspberry Pi desktop. That's the old splash screen, isn't it? Okay, so this is booting up much more as you'd expect to see a Debian system boot. There we go. So we get to the login. That's all we need, really. So let's log in as me. Okay. That's us in. Okay. So if we want to shut down and do anything, because it's Linux and not Windows, we use the sudo command to prefix our command, which is the same as run this command as administrator. As you saw my previous Dell video where we did some config of Debian. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back to Windows and see if we can log in via SSH. Okay, so I'm going to shut this down. Oh, shut down. Is what I will be if this doesn't work. Okay, so that's gonna shut down. We'll just wait for it to shut down. So it gives us a few seconds to do it, and then we can cancel the shutdown with that command there, shutdown -C. Okay, right, well, it's taking its bloody sweet time, isn't it? There we go. It looks like it waited a minute, so I could do now after it to stop that minutes. Oops, I did it wrong time. Okay, so this is just going to the system power off. I think it's probably done now. I can't do anything. Right, okay, we are going to switch back to Windows and we're going to connect to it and we can install Plex and everything else that way. Right, okay, we're back on our Windows desktop. First thing we need to do, now I've powered the Pi up with nothing plugged into it except the Wi-Fi, is check it's on the network. Ooh, it's 37, isn't it? 37. There we go. So we're getting a reply from that. Okay. So something on Windows 11, which, I mean, I'm not a huge Windows fan, but what I see now, SSH comes as part of the operating system. A bit like on every Linux and Unix and Mac, which is based on BSD Unix anyway, is built in. But with Windows, you always had to, if you wanted to use SSH, which for those who don't have never used it, is like a modern, more secure, encrypted telnet connection, really. But it's much more secure. It's SSH. So look, we can SSH. There's my username into there. We'll add the key. The known hosts. Pop the password in. And boom, shake the room. We are now in our Pi. So the first thing we need to do is update the software. So there's two steps we've got to do with Linux. We need to update the index in the repository. So that'll go on the repository and it'll update the index to all the software that's available and the latest versions. It won't download it, it will just update its index. So apt is our engine, and we're just going to say apt update. That will go on to all the configured repositories and ensure that our computer knows about the latest version of everything and all its dependencies. There we go. What is that saying? So that's something that's going to be deprecated. Right, okay, so 135 packages can be upgraded. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to update everything that's already installed on our system. So we do upgrade, and we can do a -y, so it will automatically proceed and download everything. Okay, so now it's doing it all. So I've got a feeling this won't be the quickest procedure in the world, using an old Wi-Fi dongle and a slow ARM-based credit card size computer. So with the magic of editing, we will go to the completed update. Right, it's finally done. For you, it was just a microsecond. For me, it was about 25 minutes. The bit that took ages was this bit where it was generating a new boot kernel. So that took forever. But we're done now. Let's just give it a quick reboot. Okay, so look, we put now on it and it will reboot. Okay, so we'll give that a few seconds. While we're waiting, from a forum post about how to install Plex Media Server on Debian systems, we literally install these, install this dependency, apt transport HTTPS. We then download this signing key and put it in our keyring. Okay, that's a key to make sure that when we download this stuff here, it's the genuine stuff and it's signed with the right key. Otherwise, it could be spoofed. Okay, and then we add a new repo. Okay, which is the Plex repo. So what you saw, we've got our Raspberry Pi repos where we're getting all our software from. We're just adding a new repo into apt, and basically that's what this is doing. So let's SSH back in. That was pretty quick. Okay, so let's do our first command. It's not quick, is it, at all? Well, that's that done. Okay, this is just a quick download command, and it will put it into our keyring. Oops, there we go. That's that one there. That's that done. And now we just add the repo. That's it. So if we do that, update the index command that we did first, it will go to the repo there and update our index with all the new software titles in this repo here. There we go. So now that's done, we should be able to install Plex Media Server. It's a 74 meg download, so that's not that big. We're using Wi-Fi at the moment. I do have, the Pi does have an Ethernet port, so if this does turn out to be all right, then I will Ethernet it directly into the router. But I've got a few concerns. The first concern is that the processor in it is fast enough to do any transcoding on the fly. I'm not sure about that. It is an old Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi 4 and 5, I think, are out now. They've got much better processors in them. And the second is this USB hard drive here. Okay, this will be powered directly from the Pi, and I'm not sure if the Pi will be able to cope with powering up this as well as using it. So if that does cause a problem, I may have to get hold of a powered USB hub for the Pi, but we'll see what happens. Right, okay, so let's check. Let's give it a reboot. That's installed. I'll have to check and see whether the Plex is enabled as a service. So while that's rebooting, I'll load up my Plex server on here. Here, so we're going to open Plex. Okay, so that should sign me in. So this is all my stuff that's on the PC. If I change this to 192.168.0.37. Just change that to web. Let's see if we get anything. Nothing yet. Okay, so well, let's see if let's just say Jim. Oh, hello. Something happened. Running startup maintenance task. Right, okay, so it is starting up. Okay, that's good. I was just looking here. I think I need something like this for it. Okay, so 20 quid. And that plugs in. And I could probably even power the Pi up as well. Right, Plex is here, everybody. Continue if you want. Right, okay, yeah. So let's sign it in and add it to my Plex database. Well, my server name is there. I haven't got a media library yet. I'll add that later because we haven't even connected the hard drive. Okay, so now we're done. Okay, so there's my server here, Raspberry Pi, and there's my PC. Okay, so that's where you manage the libraries. So now let's get this hard drive mounted. Right, okay, I've tried to try a couple of USB cables and everything. I'm not getting much joy with this. Not appearing there whatsoever. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch back to the display capture and see if there's anything going on the operating system itself. Okay, so we'll switch back. Right, here comes the Pi. Let's have a look. Hard drive is plugged in. It looks like it's spun up. Let's see if we can mount it in the desktop operating system. Don't log in first, and don't forget we've set it so that it won't load the desktop Windows Manager by default. So we'll just do it manually. Okay, so logged in. StarText, that should load our desktop manager. Oh, I need to plug the mouse in. There we go. It's found it. Okay. File manager. Let's see if we see our device here. It's not here. It will normally prompt us to mount it. We'll see it. Doesn't look like it at all. So I think this has not got the oomph to read off that external hard disk, which is annoying. It's not mounted in media. Let's go back to our preferences. Let's set it back so it boots up with the into the OS again. So we want auto login and boot to desktop. This would be a shame. I know the hard drive works because I copied all my shutdown Plex, as you can see here. I copied all my Plex library over to it. I just don't think the Pi has got enough beans to actually power it up and use it. We'll one more go. I mean, it is powering up, but I just don't think it can mount it. Right, come on, hurry up and stop Plex. This is a 2 coffee problem. I have got. I mean, if this isn't really going to be good enough for a Plex, which is what I'm strongly suspecting, I do have another use for this Pi. My internet provider is Virgin Media, and yeah, the Hub 3 runs the DHCP and DNS, and it doesn't do a very good job of it at all. So what I would prefer to do is actually have a separate box or machine, could be this, that will actually use the DHCP and give out IP addresses to all my devices and do the DNS proxying as well. And maybe I can host my own little DNS server, my own local domain here. And I can also reserve IP addresses, so things that I talk to will always have the same IP address and even a DNS name. So there's some software called DNS Mask, M-A-S-Q. So I could use that. I could install that on the Pi plus a DHCP service. And use it for that, because that doesn't need a huge amount of computing power. I don't have a lot of devices. I've got about 20 on my network, but I've got a lot of virtual devices I'm going to be using as well. So there we have it. What does it say up in the top here? Let me just move my camera a bit. I can't because I've got no mouse. No, it just says I'm connected to the wireless. Okay. File system. Okay, so there's nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I can pull it out and put it in again, and it doesn't appear as a device from here. Before it will appear as an unmounted disk, but it doesn't. Let's just swap the cable over again. Let's try to spin it up. I don't think it's even spinning it up properly. But yeah, look, it's just crashed it. Totally crashed it. Unless the mouse has stopped. Right, yeah, let's see, it stopped the mouse working. One more thing to try, which is another cable I know is good because it's used for my PS4 controller. Right, okay, that's booting up. I can hear it trying to spin up and then it stops and then tries to spin up again with this cable. Yeah. Okay, so that looks like we're not going to get much further with that. Okay, so the two options we've got here, okay, are trying a powered USB hub. I mean, I do one anyway. The one I've got plugged into the computer is not powered, so it'll be useful to have one. And if I don't need it in the end, it'll be a good extension on the one I've got here. That's the option for maybe seeing if we can use this for Plex. Although we still got the issue that the computer just might not be powerful enough. Yeah, I can hear the hard drive just failing to spin up. Okay, so there's that. Or don't use the Raspberry Pi. And maybe a NUC computer, you know, the little small compact ones. That could be an option if I can get a second-hand one somewhere. Yeah, okay, so that's where we're going to have to leave this video. It was not a success. Yeah. And I do now believe, seeing the speed of this thing, it's not going to have the processing power to do any sort of transcoding or the speed. But yes, okay, so I'm going to have to go away and have a think. I probably will get hold of that powered USB hub and we'll give it a go. But we will have a follow-up video to this and see where we get. So we can try the powered USB hub. If that fails, we will set this up as a DHCP and DNS mask unit, and then think of another solution for Plex. Right, okay, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.